Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Get in the Herd After Hours. I'm your host, Alex Bond. This is a recovery podcast from the McShin Foundation. I myself am a person in sustained recovery from a substance use disorder. I work at the McShin Foundation. I am a house leader here at McShin and am grateful enough to do stuff like this 2 or 3 times a week. I'm happy to have my great buddy Nathan, new buddies Campbell and Chris. Nathan, why don't you introduce yourself to those who do not know you?
Well, everybody, how are you? And welcome to another edition of Get in the Herd After Hours. It's been a long time since I've said that. I am hitting you up today from Marfa, and that is Marfa with an F, Texas, way down in the West. And I have had the extraordinary experience of meeting two people, one of whom I actually met in person. I met Campbell Lillard not in Denver, in Dallas last week, was it? Friday. Gosh, the time is going by. And I met Chris right at the beginning of my journey. I met him through Facebook, through our little project here. And we didn't get to meet up because of rain. And I think the car had the issue and yada, yada, yada. I was too chicken to drive the hour in the rain. But they represent Chris Spallina and Campbell Lillard are here with the Phoenix. And Chris is in New Jersey. Campbell is in Dallas. And they do some amazing stuff. I'm going to let them talk for themselves. But before I do that, let me just shout out here. Campbell, my man, gave me a T-shirt. He actually gave me two. And I'm sad to admit that the extra large actually does fit. But we're going to work on that today. We're going to work on that going forward. So, Chris, you want to introduce yourself first and go ahead and tell us what you do, who you do, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Sure. Thanks, Nathan. Thank you for the introduction. And I'm glad we had the opportunity to connect. My name is Chris Spallina. I'm the program manager for the Phoenix in New Jersey. The Phoenix, I think Nathan said, we're a sober active community. We provide sober activities such as yoga, meditation, fitness events, and social events, all for free for anyone that has 48 hours of continuous sobriety. So whether that means that you identify as a person in recovery from substance use disorder like I do and like Alex said he does, or you're a supporter of someone in recovery, or you're just trying to live a sober lifestyle, our programs are for you and they're free. And we have, before COVID, we had 24 physical locations around the country. Since then, we have kind of pivoted our strategy, and all of our programs are available on a virtual platform 7 days a week, free of charge, every day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. We have, starting with meditation, I guide a meditation in the mornings at 7 a.m. on Zoom, and all the way up through yoga and fitness, community fitness classes and socials. We also have a book club and a game night. Those are all free and accessible to anybody who wants to join.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And, you know, I neglected to introduce myself as a person in sustained recovery from a substance use disorder. And I have 2 years and 5 months of continuous sobriety. That means for me, I don't lie, cheat, and steal with as much enthusiasm as I used to. But Chris, that was a great introduction. And there, I wanted to see Campbell smile. He was sitting there. Campbell, welcome to the show. Would you introduce yourself and tell us what you do down in Dallas?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Nathan. I'm an instructor in Dallas, and I have a strength and conditioning background, but what that means in the context of Phoenix is we do anything that works, anything that brings people together to harness community. You're on our photography walk, so we like to start out with events that have a super low barrier to entry that people can get excited about. Come and try our events out. We also do, as Chris said, meditation, yoga. We do rock climbing. We do mountain biking. We do community fitness. We do strength classes. Basically anything that gets people together, gets them moving a little bit, and builds that community.
No, that's awesome, guys. I actually really just wanted to jump in and ask Chris. You mentioned 7 days a week, completely virtual. Has that been since day one, or is that a pandemic thing? And how have you kind of dealt with that?
Yeah, so great question. So we kind of had that on our radar as a future strategy that we wanted to get into, because really, if you think about it, it kind of removes a lot of barriers for entry, right? Transportation, maybe childcare, physical location, all those things. So it was on our radar to get into the virtual programming, but COVID just made it happen a whole lot faster. I think it was March 15th when we decided we had to cancel all of our in-person programming. And within 72 hours, the team got together. We all stayed up late and hustled and put it all together. And by Monday morning, we had a full schedule up, and it's been going since then. And that being said, too, it's here to stay. We're gonna continue with the virtual programming. Something that really cool happened with that was, like I mentioned before, we had 24 chapters before COVID. And since we put that virtual programming up, we've had people signing in from all 50 states and 6 countries outside of America.
No, that's wild, man. I mean, it's sincerely like, as much as it sucks, it sounds like COVID was a bit of a blessing in disguise to kind of light a fire under your ass for a project that you already kind of had in place. So then, that I'm telling you what, I wouldn't be doing this, and I've done stuff like this before, and this is a very similar scenario with the podcasts. Nathan was actually more of a figurehead for it, but before he went out of town. Nathan, how did you kind of get in contact with these guys?
So, Chris, I believe you found me on Facebook through the Addiction Across America page. Is that correct?
I saw your post, and you were announcing that you were going to travel across the country and tell what recovery looks like across America. And I'm like, hey, we're a nationwide organization. You got to know about us.
Yeah, and I didn't know about you guys at that time until then. So I appreciated that. So I talked to Chris up there, and some of the early challenges I had when I first started out on this, and we didn't get to meet. But as I was coming down and through the South and getting into Texas, Chris hit me up and said, hey, you need to hit up this guy named Campbell. And I looked him up and I said, man, that guy looks intimidating. I don't think I can hang with him. I'm going to get hurt if I try to do something he does, right? So that was my thinking. So I said, I don't know about that. But he said, no, you hit up this guy, right? So I did. And he was telling me about this nature photography walk in a beautiful park in Plano, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. And my sister's not too far from there. So actually I met my sister, and we both went on the walk, and there were, I think, about 9 or 10 people there. It was, I thought, a pretty decent turnout, all levels of fitness. And we walked, it was a sunset, we took pictures, and just kind of chilled with nature. It was, and as much as I know, Campbell, you're into the fitness stuff, it was very meditative to me. So that was very, very calming. And I hadn't seen my sister at that point in about 3 years. That was the first time seeing her when we got together right before we met you. So that was really awesome. That was very calming and very welcoming, and just an overall amazing experience.
You seem calmer than normal. I love it. Maybe I don't love it, but because I love the good high energy, Nathan. But there is some sort of like serenity to you right now. It's cool.
You've got to come to Texas, man. Texas is where it's at, and I never thought I would say that, but I love this state.
This mental state as well. I understand.
Well, both, yeah.
Campbell, so I'm curious, what kind of gets people's how do you get people's foot in the door? So say like I am someone that hates working out. I absolutely hate it. But when I started to get clean, I would go to the gym every like week or so because I went with someone else. But I slack on it. Do you guys like make our like case by case personal regiments for people, or kind of how does that more tangible aspect of it work?
Great question. So it's all group classes because it's community based. How we get people in the door is we do what people want to do. A lot of times people are enticed by free rock climbing. A lot of times people are enticed by free paddleboarding. A lot of times people are enticed by a photography walk where they just get to hang out in nature. And then they come and they see the people. They see that it's a supportive community. They get invited to another event. They might want to come to a gym. A lot of times I tell people you don't have to work out to kick it. You can just show up to the gym, hang out and talk and see what we have going on. And by the simple fact of people being there, they want to jump in and they want to participate because we make it inclusive. We have something for everybody. A grandma can come in and work out with us. Somebody that's never worked out before in their life can come in.
No, that's cool. Those kind of like different things that you can grab and take like piece of the pie of, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, I have to go in and just work out with the dumbbells. It's like I can go on nature walks. I can do all this other stuff. I think Jamie had a really good question. I'd like to get everyone's thoughts of and toss it around a little bit. He asked if we noticed any big difference in recovery communities in different states. Nathan, you've been traveling a lot, and Chris, you mentioned that your organization is nationwide. Have you noticed any sort of major key differences here and there? Positive or negative, or just objective in general?
For me, as far as the Phoenix goes, we make it pretty transparent. Make sure that all of our events are in some form uniform. So it's kind of like if you were to go to a yoga class in New Jersey, and then you were to go to a yoga class in Dallas, it might not be the same teacher, it might not be the same yoga flow, but it's going to be that same community connection and the safe and supportive environment. So yes, it's going to be different locations and different events that we're doing. Like, we don't have mountain climbing in New Jersey, right? And we also don't, and they also don't have beach yoga in Colorado. But it's all about, it's less about, I feel like the events are fun and the moving around is fun, but it's more about that community connection of participating in something together, whether that is getting around playing board games or climbing an ice mountain, whatever it is. As far as the Phoenix goes, that's how I would say it differs by events, but it wouldn't differ as far as the feeling of the community connection.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a strong assessment. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be able to go a whitewater rafting in maybe like Montana or something like that. So kind of like again, those specifics are going to be different. But Campbell, do you kind of have the same opinion there on that, or maybe what have you seen in different maybe what motivates people in different states and stuff like that might be different? I don't know. I don't really get out much.
I think connection is the main motivator, and I would argue that you could go to Chris's meditation in New Jersey, and the vibe before and after would be very similar to the vibe before and after a powerlifting class in Dallas.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say. Sorry.
No, go for it, Chris.
As far as like recovery in a broad sense, I've been in and out of recovery for a long time now. I just turned 37. I think my first attempt at sobriety was 18. Right, so the treatment model was way different then than it is now, and I think that especially at the Phoenix, how we create that inclusive community, we believe, and I believe personally, that there's no one right way to recover, right? And I think that years ago when I first tried to get sober, that maybe wasn't the same assessment, and maybe West Coast was first to get on board with kind of like alternate pathways, not specifically 12-step all the time. There's refuge recovery, recovery 2.0, recovery dharma, smart recovery, all these different things. And that wasn't available to me when I first started getting clean. When I first tried to get clean, at least it was this way, or it's just not going to work. If you don't go to these meetings, you're going to die. Now there's all kinds of different support. And I think that the nation as a recovery community is kind of coming around to that it's not one size fits all. Everyone's puzzle is going to need different pieces to put together. Mine definitely does not match what Campbell's is, but we still participate in the same events, and when we're together, we're like best friends. And we don't walk in the door and say, hey, I'm Chris, I'm an addict. I would walk into Campbell's gym to go do a community workout, and I would just be Chris there to do CrossFit or community fitness with Campbell. But
we don't have to walk around wearing that like neon sign almost, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I would wear a shirt like Campbell has that says sober, but I wouldn't label myself as an addict or an alcoholic, because that's not who I am when I'm walking in. I'm Chris. I'm that person doing yoga, or I'm that person climbing a mountain. And everybody around me is sober too, or on some sort of a healing journey. And that's where the magic happens, that community connection where we all know that we can be safe around each other and with no judgment, but we don't have to go back and label and remind ourselves all the time that we are suffering.
No, absolutely. That's a very fair assessment. Nathan, take so you've been now, kind of going through the I don't know, the southeast, I guess it would be, of the country now. Take the Phoenix out of the equation. What are some of the similarities or differences that you've seen throughout the nation now that you're about like a quarter way through it?
Well, I have to echo what both Chris and Campbell pinpointed, man. It's all about connections. Recovery, the opposite of addiction is connection. And everywhere I've gone, it's the community in a safe, sober environment, coming together and where I was in Midland, Texas, the drug of choice is slightly different. There's an influx of a different drug than another drug in another area, which means it's a little different in the approach. Like, I won't go into specifically about that, but it's all connections. And I've gone to 12-step meetings along the way. And I've seen that in other RCOs, recovery community organizations, they have multiple pathways, embracing harm reduction, embracing MAT or MAR, however you want to call that, embracing meditation, recovery Dharma. In fact, I gave away my recovery Dharma book to a woman in Dallas because we talked about it, and I said I have this on tape, and I actually listened to it from Austin to Dallas, and I finally finished it all the way through. And so it's really about the connections. The only big difference I've seen from the different meetings I've gone to is the different colors of the chips. I mean, really, I walk in and I was able to introduce myself and be welcomed as family everywhere I've gone. It's absolutely amazing to just be able to come into, out of the cold, basically, the figurative cold, and be able to just walk in and say, hey, I'm just a guy trying to do the same thing y'all are doing, and be embraced and welcomed as if, I'm family, and because I am family. So I love that. The community is strong everywhere I've gone.
No, that's cool. I mean, as someone, I've really only kind of like done recovery things in Virginia, so I was curious in general too. Campbell, I kind of wanted to circle back. I'll get to Jamie's question real quick. I kind of wanted to circle back to you to ask almost the opposite of what I asked earlier. So say I am someone who almost always went on nature walks and shot photography, but I was high when I did it. Say I'm someone who likes socializing and I like listening to music, but I was always, using when I did that sort of stuff. How do I get over that hump of, not just avoiding that stuff because it's such a huge trigger? How can I kind of get back into doing those things that I love while disassociating from the using aspect of it? Because I imagine there's probably plenty of people that come into the Phoenix and they're like, I used to do this all the time, but it's tough because it constantly reminds me of maybe my past.
Great question. But for me, I might sound like a broken record, but the answer is the same. It's all about the connection. It's all about the community. The environment that we create, the environment that we foster is so vastly different. Part of my early life, part of really almost all my life, I was searching for community in the wrong places. I was in gangs. I was running the streets. I thought these people had my back. I thought they were supportive of me. I thought they wanted me to do my best. But I mean, now with perspective, I know that that's a lie. The environment we foster in the Phoenix is one where everyone supports each other. You can come in on your worst day and people will have your back. You can come in on your best day and people will push you to be better. I would love for you to come to an event. I'd love for you to come to a virtual event.
Me too. Yeah.
Experience that community. It's just a vibe completely different, a feel that's completely different. And I think that our team members and participants get that kind of right away that it's a different environment than they're used to.
Alex, I'd like to add something to that too. Nathan, you mentioned something, and then Alex, you mentioned something that made me think. You said something about the different colored chips across the country, and then Alex, you said something about someone that used to listen to music and it would bring back memories of when they were using or whatever. So this is my chip right here. I don't know if you've ever seen
Yeah, the Grateful Dead. That's a stealing.
So that's a Wharf Rats chip, right? So the Wharf Rats are a group of concert goers that choose to live substance free. So if you can stay sober at a Grateful Dead concert, it's a slippery slope to do that. So same thing, it's the community connection, right? I found a community of people that still like to go to the Grateful Dead shows and want to stay sober. And that's what I did. I plugged myself into that. I volunteered. Last year, I got to volunteer at Madison Square Garden for the Dead & Co. Halloween show.
Wow.
Set up a table, do a sobriety meeting at set break, and meet other people just like me and provide support for those that might be struggling. And the same thing, it's the same thing, community connection. That's what we keep talking about. If you can find that thing that you like to do and find the people that are doing it and doing it in a healthy way, in a supportive way, I think that's where we can kind of turn it around.
No, that's cool. I don't know if it was that exact same group, but I had a buddy tell me that like at especially Grateful Dead shows, if you were going to a show and you were clean and sober and kind of like looking for other people, you would like attach a big pink balloon to you.
Yellow.
And if you saw someone else with
yep.
That is a thing though.
The broad umbrella of the jam band sobriety scene is yellow balloons.
That's what it is, yellow balloon.
Yeah.
So they put a yellow balloon on, and if you saw someone else with a yellow balloon, you could go up and hang out with them and be like, I'm clean too. And then you'd be able to like deal with that experience together. I think ideas like that are super, super cool.
And we hand out these stickers.
One show at a time. That's awesome.
I like that. I like that thermos too. Is that what that
Nathan,
is?
were you going to
Yeah.
say something?
Oh yeah. Chris, are you responsible for putting fish on my playlist?
Probably. Yeah, that would have probably been me.
I'm listening through it the other day, and I'm like, am I stoned?
I have so many buddies that listen to that stuff religiously. Nathan, I think Jamie had another good question for you specifically, since you've been traveling so much. Are you able to keep close relationships with mentors, mentees, and others you met before traveling or while you're traveling? Like this, I think stuff like this pretty is self-explanatory, but that raw connection is a little bit. Could you elaborate on answer that question for us?
Well, so I am annoying in my photography in that I will take a whole bunch of pictures and then keep sending them to people regardless of whether they want them or not, until they respond to me. Which is to say, I don't talk to my sponsor. I don't think I can ever talk to my sponsor enough, right? But I do talk to them. I do talk to my network. I have to. I am stuck in my head all day long. And if I don't reach out and make connections, if I don't sit and have a chat with somebody, and that's what I love about this, where I am in this particular little town right now. It's like 1,900 people in this town. And I've just been able to sit and talk to people, versus being in the big city where and I've lived in big cities. I lived in New York. I lived in DC, and you can be anonymous among the millions. And it's such a I loved that feeling because I was using, I could be with people and have the illusion of connection. I think one of you, Campbell, or Chris, said chasing connections that I'm going to paraphrase or I'm going to misphrase, the wrong connections anyway. And so, being able to just sit and, have a cup of coffee I had this morning and talk to the woman who made the coffee for me, walk around this little town and chat with the guy who was walking his dog. It's fantastic. And the people that I keep meeting keep pushing me forward to meet other people. Like I met Chris through the Facebook page. When I was in Austin, somebody else hit me up through Facebook who suggested I talk to a guy in Midland. So I talked to the guy, or a woman in Midland. I talked to the woman in Midland who put me to the guy in Midland, and I ended up staying in Midland. My sister, who lives in Denton, suggested I come to Marfa, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. But my brother-in-law said, do that. And I said, And then this random guy in Midland said, no, you should go to Marfa, without even, any prompting. And I'm like, all right, somebody's telling me to come here. And sure enough, I love this place. So I'm just listening, as much as I can and trying my damnedest to get out of my own freaking way. Because when I get in my own way, I start to try to control things again. And I think, initially when I was in Jersey, I was very much triggered in Jersey because that's where I grew up. I mean, that's even I was born in New Jersey. I went to high school in New Jersey. When my parents were divorced, I split my time between South Jersey and Virginia Beach. That's why the very beginning of this trip was up Route 13, because I'd taken that route 1,000 times as a child, and there are so many memories, and many of them are actually happy, good memories, but there's a lot of negative associations with that. And to try and craft positive associations, I was stressed out as F when I was in South Jersey. And then, of course, the car light and the rain, and I'm just like, I don't want to, and nobody wanted to meet with me. And I was like, I'm never going to fail, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to have to put myself back in Richmond and live in that. Yeah, so and it was easy for me to get into that space as I was coming to grips with, reaching out to people. And then, as I've gone along this route, once I left Austin, every single place I go to after Austin is new to me. So I had never been to Dallas. I'd never been to Denton. I'd never been to Fort Worth. Never been to Midland. And I'm certainly not here either. So this is, if I don't reach out and try to make connections, I'm going to sit in my little hotel room and probably want to use, frankly. So
no, that's wicked important. That makes a lot of sense. That not even being able to keep those relationships, but saying that you have to is what I hear when you say that.
Oh, well, not only, but I have to for my own sobriety, but I want to. I've met some of these amazing people, Chris and Campbell, two examples of that. And what they're doing with the Phoenix is something I didn't know about. And it's something that I absolutely know would work in Richmond, and so hopefully somebody here, maybe will take up the reins and talk to Chris Chris or Campbell offline and see how we can bring this to Richmond, how we can bring all those connections, because I mean we have trails in Richmond, we got hiking, we got mountains not too far, well, we got hills not too far from us, we've got river, we've got all kinds of things to do. We have a pretty strong sangha that likes, that the recovery dharma. So all these things that we can do together and hold each other accountable and look after each other. Yeah.
And so Jamie, I think that's the answer to your question right there. To learn more and to help contribute to Addiction Across America 2020, visit that website right there, big dog. Campbell, I wanted to ask you specifically, and this could be just an open question in general, but Nathan touched on something that I think is important to me personally, is those feelings of isolation and anxiety. How have you dealt with this pandemic? Has that created a lot of anxiety? Kind of maybe walk me through how the Phoenix has helped, what other stuff you've done. I mean, I've known people who have had long-term sobriety that have either gone back out, thought about going out, or died. I mean, it is serious out there. So I was kind of just wondering in general how this coronavirus has impacted you.
Yes, it's been rough. It's a weird time. I actually approached the beginning of the pandemic with a lot of ego. I've been in SEG before. This is nothing. This is Cadillac. Everybody's complaining about being stuck in. I'm in a penthouse suite right now. It's no big deal for me. But then it got to me a little bit, and specifically what got to me was seeing other people struggle and then being powerless to help them. What really helped with that was that virtual platform and being able to reach out to people when they needed it the most, to be able to offer. I believe at the very start of the pandemic, we were offering 6 or 8 classes a day, every day. We were emailing members constantly. We were calling them. We were texting them and really trying to stay connected. I'm fortunate to have some awesome coworkers that work with me. We were all staying connected. We were all supporting each other. It was a little bit of a struggle to reach out and find out how to help other people, but we developed a great platform for that, and we got really good at it.
That's good. Chris, kind of similar, same question to you. What about personally? Anything did you have that same sort of confidence and I'll say confidence, because complacency is a thing that I dealt with. Campbell, you didn't say that, so I'm not going to put that on you. Chris, what did you kind of have that same attitude, or was that a little different?
Sure, a little bit different for me. I think I might have mentioned this to Nathan, and my recovery path differs a little bit, and what was the start of my transformation was finding yoga and meditation as tools for my recovery. And those are practices that, we practice with other people. We do them in a community, but those are also things that I can take home with me and do them on my own. So I personally have a strict meditation practice, and that really helps me with that whole present time awareness thing and releasing some anxiety and depression and stuff like that. I mean, if we're in the present moment and we're not thinking about yesterday, we're not thinking about tomorrow, what are we afraid of, right? And I still face all the fear and uncertainty that everyone else faced too, but I think that those practices, this meditation, the yoga, and being able to jump on and have a meditation at 7 o'clock in the morning with people from all over the country and talk about what we're feeling, that was really, really instrumental for myself. But I will say, for sure, it was the people that I kept around me that were the most beneficial for me. The people that I know are on similar healing pathways, that I know will always be honest with me and be there for me when I call, like somebody like Campbell or my girlfriend Megan or my boss and one of my best friends Amy. I could call her anytime and be like, yeah, this pandemic sucks. What are we going to do? And we'll just talk through it. That's what it really comes down to, is that peer connection. I think that was really helpful. And 100% meditation changed my life. And without that, I'm not so sure how I would have been able to deal with everything that happened at the beginning of this.
I'm so bad at meditating. Like I try to, and I actively, I think maybe I'm trying too hard when I meditate, and I just don't know how to do it. Like Nathan, you were saying that they'd be able to, you were looking at some sort of plan, right? Is there a way that I can, tack on like whatever, you were, I guess, kind of planning. I think actually Jamie has another great question. Yeah, could you elaborate on that a little bit more, Chris? What ways
Sure.
does it help? 'Cause
Actually,
I know personally, yeah, I just feel like nothing. So I
I
want to know.
absolutely, yeah, I have many answers for that. I can start with physiological benefits, right? Lowered blood pressure, lowered heart rate, lowered body temperature, greater body awareness, greater sense of general contentment, right? Those are kind of like the scientific based things. For me, myself, it was being able to get rid of the shame and the guilt that I had from my past, right? That's what really I had to come to terms with before I could move on. And meditation did that for me. I was able to concentrate on the present moment. Look at those things that happened to me. If any one of those things that happened to me, I think I overdosed like 5 times, almost died like 5 times. I've been to jail, I've been to prison, I've been to 8 different treatment centers. But if any one of those little things didn't happen to me, I might not be here working for the Phoenix talking to you guys right now. I might be doing something else. I might be sober, I might be dead, but I wouldn't be where I am, and I'm super content where I am. And meditation helped me kind of gain that insight into those causes of the unsatisfactory emotions that I was feeling, and anxiety and depression and stuff like that. Factually as well, while we're talking about meditation and mindfulness, the brain is the only organ in the body that specifically can be transformed by habit, right? Our brain gets reshaped by these habitual patterns that we have, these unskillful behaviors that we repeat and repeat, at least myself, that I repeated and repeated over years, trying to feed that craving, that attachment to the pleasure that I thought was pleasure, that was coming from narcotics. But the same thing goes the other way too. We can intentionally reshape our brain into new habits, and that's where meditation, mindfulness practices come from. That's where yoga can help reshaping the way that we see life, the way that we experience the present moment. It's our relationship to the experiences that we're having that changed with meditation. The first thing that I noticed with meditation that was helpful for me is I used to react really quickly or speak really quickly when I was going to react to something. And the first thing that I noticed and what started to keep me motivated was I was able to pause before I reacted and then skillfully respond rather than react. And I think for someone like myself that is in recovery from substance use disorder, the same thing can be said for those cravings that we have, right? When a craving comes up, is it, let me go act on it, or let me investigate this and see where this is really coming from? You know, do I want to go have a drink because I'm feeling some emotion that I feel is uncomfortable, or do I really need a drink? No, we don't need a drink. We're trying to numb ourselves from feeling that emotion that we see as unsatisfactory. But meditation and mindfulness, for me, has been able to give me that ability to recognize that without acting on those cravings.
No, well said, my friend. Campbell, do you have the kind of that similar affect with meditation, or is your program a little different than that?
I like to lift heavy things. That's my meditation. I do a little bit of breath work, and it definitely helps calm me down. It helps give me that second pause when I get angry or when I get emotional to kind of take a step back. But my practice is heavily reliant on physical practice. I did a gymnastics program for a long time, a calisthenic program for a long time. I'm underneath the barbell every day, and that's kind of my time to reset and zen out. That's actually how I got sober was through training. I realized that I was weak. I realized that addiction had made me super weak, and I realized that wasn't a good place to be. And so I started to try to make myself stronger, and that was where a huge amount of power came in for me. I realized that I could change who I was. I grew up without that belief. I grew up thinking that I was just stuck in the same place, that I was destined to go to prison, that I was fated for this certain life, that I was fated to be miserable. But training gave me this very tangible lesson that I could change myself, that I could change things I didn't like about myself. And then that carried over to my recovery.
Fated to be faded. I dig it. Nathan, what are you looking forward to doing? Are these guys going to help you out? Do you have a game plan, or is this just smoke and mirrors?
Smoke and mirrors. I love it. Hey, man, I don't have a game plan. When I try to have a game plan, it all goes up in smoke and mirrors. I try to, as much as I can, let go and let God. I bring the Phoenix and introduce the Phoenix to our community here. Well, our community in Richmond and the McShin community, and see where that goes. I am actually eager to jump into some of those meditations early in the morning. It is now we're an hour. I'm an hour behind you, but I'll be 2 hours behind you in 2 days, maybe even 3. So I'm kind of a little nervous about that. For me, it's somebody brought this up earlier about, I think Alex, you maybe asked the question. Before I got sober, I actually worked out quite a bit, and I was at one point, at a different point in my addiction, I was actually kind of buff, and so I have a lot of negative associations of me working out, running the bathroom. Oddly enough, because this is insane to me now, doing what I would do, and I'm an uppers guy, and then coming right back out, doing a couple more sets, and repeating that. I mean, the insanity of that. And then I would leave, go to a bar, and we would mix protein powder with Rumpelmints and milk. The insanity of it. Apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger did that. I don't know, but it was the insanity of my disease telling me that this.
And he became governor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so he wasn't doing the other things I was doing when I was actually at the gym, but and then when my disease really kicked in, I eliminated the alcohol part and went to the uppers that really got me up, and so but part of my hesitance about going back into the gym is I'm 44 now. And, I have some of those negative associations still with what I was doing back in the day. And also there's fear, there's pride. There's not wanting to look weak because I'm older. I feel older. I look older. So I'm eager to have a community and jump into a community that doesn't, that's more supportive of that. But also challenges me because I don't want to go to the gym and just be like lifting, oh, look, a 10-pound weight, yay. I want to actually work out, have a little back and forth. And, and the buddies I had when I was working out, I don't know. I'd like to see that community built in our area. Smoke and mirrors, huh? Thanks, Alex.
I asked if it was smoke and mirrors. I didn't say it is. I was just merely asking.
Nathan. Oh, sorry.
No, Chris,
Nathan, I can really relate to what you said because in 2013, I went to prison for the first time in New York State. Actually, funny enough, we were just talking about I got arrested at a Fish concert, right? So I went to prison in New York State, and I was blessed that they offered me a diversionary program. In New York State, they have something called shock incarceration. So what that is instead of 3 years in a maximum security prison, I did 90 days in a boot camp style treatment center with all the guards there were ex-military. We woke up and did PT 4 o'clock in the morning saying, sir, yes, sir, ironing our clothes with creases, the whole 9 yards, pretty much whatever you would have learned in the Marines, except the cool stuff like how to fight and shoot guns, right? But what I did realize while I was there was that I first of all, I had no organization or discipline in my life whatsoever. So that's where I saw a benefit from it right away. But the exercise in the morning, doing that physical fitness thing, halfway through that, I saw it as a challenge. I'm like, wow, this is cool. I can run 3 miles without feeling like I'm going to die. And by the time I got out of there, it was a little bit longer. And it was more like 110 days altogether for that program. And then when I got out of there, I still kept on going. I was running 5 miles a day in the morning before I did anything. From 2013 to late 2016, that's how I stayed sober. I went running every day. I was going to the gym. I was doing CrossFit. I was running the Spartan races. In 2014, I was at the Spartan Race World Championship in Vermont. That's what I did to stay sober, the fitness thing. So I knew that was a piece of it, right? But I was still going and hanging out with the same people. I was going and doing all these awesome, healthy things and making myself feel good and thinking like I could tiptoe around it. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do drugs, but I can hang out with the same people. And then it was like I can hang out with the same people in the bar and I'll just have a water, Then it was like I'll have a beer, and I won't go in the bathroom or whatever. But quickly that went downhill. So I saw that, right, that the fitness and the physical movement and being healthy and well was going to be a part of my recovery, my life puzzle, or my recovery puzzle specifically. And then moving forward, I found the Phoenix, and then that's where it all fell into place. I got to do these things with people that were staying healthy and sober.
Yeah, because it isn't always just about the particular things that keep us clean. It's about doing them with people who hold us accountable. Make sure that we're doing it correctly. Make sure that we're doing it in safe environments. That sort of stuff. So I think that's a great observation. Campbell, I had another moderately tough question, I think, for you.
Oh, I'm
right.
a tough guy. I can handle tough questions.
All right, good. Because this is something that I have discussed with coworkers before, with other people in recovery, and I think you're the man for the job. So, what I see when I see a lot of people get maybe around like 30 days clean, they're feeling good about themselves, and then they can't go to the gym without taking a selfie and posting it on Facebook for all the self-righteousness and the arrogance that then follows it, and self-seeking behavior. But at the same time, I do understand that this disease for me has me oscillating between being overly confident and a very low self-worth. So what are your opinions and thoughts on that?
Wait, before you answer, Campbell, before you answer, Campbell, I think the word you're looking for, Alex, is swolfy.
Swolfy, exactly. So what are your thoughts on the swolfy, Campbell?
So the swolfy is not limited to people in recovery. That's a thing everywhere. But I'm just gonna say my recovery journey and my fitness journey has been all about growth. And for a long time, I mean, those two have been interwoven since I started down either path. And for a long time, there was some unhealthy aspects in both. But as I've matured, that relationship has changed. If that's what people want to do, if people want to go to the gym and take a swolfy, good for them. Like they're working to make themselves better. I'm not going to down anybody for trying to go to the gym and make themselves better. I'm not going to down anybody for going to a meeting and trying to make themselves better. I'm not going to down anybody for reading a book. If maybe that's a skill they don't have, for trying to acquire a new skill. And if they're proud of that and they want to show other people, that's awesome.
That was wonderful. That was a great answer. Chris, do you have those same sentiments? Because again, this is something that as I've seen people get clean, and there is some sort of correlation, maybe not between all of them, but a lot of people, they start getting clean, they start taking these selfies, they start hanging out with the females, and then they're back out again. Do you see the same thing, or am I going crazy, or is that?
I mean,
I'm being biased right now.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I can only speak for myself, but there is a part of that comes with the ego, right? And that's something that we have to confront when we start confronting everything that's happening with us. And for myself, spending 20 years trying to not notice anything, not notice any emotions or what's really going on with myself. So finding out that ego, now I'm finally starting to be a little bit successful. I feel good about myself, through the 12 steps, through the programs. Refuge recovery was my thing, meditation and doing a personal inventory of myself. Being able to confront that massive ego was what stopped me from going out and posting swolfies. I guess, is that what it is? Swolfy? I never, yeah.
We made it up live.
No.
But trademark it. So I think that and Nathan, you'll relate to this in an Eastern philosophy. They talk a lot about that middle way, the middle path, and that's where it comes in. We should feel confident about ourselves, but we shouldn't feel down about ourselves, but it shouldn't be one extreme or the other, right? And it's a hard place to find. It's hard to find that balance. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of investigation on myself, introspection on myself. But, I mean, everybody has their own pathway, right? And if swolfies are going to keep you sober, I would say take 5 swolfies a day if that's going to keep you sober. And come to the Phoenix afterwards.
Sober, spot on. I dig it. You guys answered that very, very well, because I wanted you to be like, oh, those people are terrible. They're the worst. No, but because I do love and appreciate when people are like, look at my progress in like 30 days. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. I'm glad that you're proud of that. That's really cool. Because, I'm personally not that person. And I think that speaks on me and the fact that I might be judging them than anything else. So that's again, an ego trip to me, because I like to be the contrarian. That's like, oh my God, y'all are so lame, but look how cool I am for not doing that. So it's almost like self-reflexive at the same time. So I really appreciate y'all's insights on that. Do you have any illuminations there, Nathan?
Well, actually, I have a question though, but
yeah,
I don't want to. Yeah, I want to change the topic if I may.
Absolutely, go to town.
All right, so look, how the hell do we bring this to Richmond? What do we do? How did you start this in New Jersey? How did you start this in Dallas? And Campbell, I want you to tell the rest of that story about where you're going next later too. But if we want to bring this to Richmond, what the heck do we have to do? Who do we need to know? Is there money that needs to get greased? Palms that need to get greased. You're from Jersey, you get it.
Oh yeah. Envelopes, huh? Yeah. Luckily, I can say that the Phoenix, we have not done any of those under the table envelope things that New Jersey's known for. Luckily, I can say that, and that's a big reason why I continue to work for them. New Jersey is a little bit of a different scenario. How we got started with the Phoenix. My supervisor, Amy, she had started a local nonprofit organization at the time. It was called Root to Rise.
What was it called?
Root to Rise.
Okay.
And they were, Amy was doing yoga for free for people in recovery, right? And she somehow connected with Scott and Jackie from the Phoenix, and they kind of like were guiding her along, teaching her what they had learned, what works and what doesn't work. And eventually it came to a point where the Phoenix saw what Amy was doing and said, hey, why don't we combine forces? Let's make Root to Rise the Phoenix. So, and that's where we are. And I'll tell a fun story too while we're talking about that. Amy was the person who came into the treatment center, introduced me to yoga and meditation and sober active community while I was in treatment, and now she's my supervisor. So it kind of came full circle on that. But that's how we kind of started it. If starting a chapter somewhere like Virginia, if you can identify the need and the interest and some volunteers and some people that are going to want to drive the program and drive the impact in that community, I would say, yeah, definitely have them email me and I'll put them in touch with the right people and we'll see where we can get that going. For now, though, I would implore anyone who is interested in the Phoenix and what we do and becoming part of a Phoenix community to jump on our virtual platform. It's you can really see what it's like. Even if you're not a fitness person, you're not a yoga person, you're not a meditation person, we have game night, we have a book club, we have socials. You can come and just see what it's about. Or you know what, if you want to come to a community fitness class with your screen off and just see what it's like, that's fine too. And then I would say that you can really kind of get a feel for the magic that happens at a Phoenix event through that. And then let's see where that conversation goes. If we can identify some people that are really interested in your location, send me an email.
Yeah, because I'm wildly competitive. I would love to yell obscenities at people over Trivial Pursuit virtually. That's my lane right there. So
I've seen you play ping pong, Alex. You are competitive.
Yeah, I'm competitive as shit. I'm way more competitive than you are.
We actually put together a Phoenix Family Feud style game, and that's what we've been doing for game night. With Zoom, you can go into breakout rooms, set up 2 teams, and Family Feud trivia. It's super fun. And our host, Dan Ugo, he's from Colorado. He is, like, if he wasn't working for the Phoenix, he would be a game show host. No question. If things didn't work out here, he would go get a host show on Hollywood Squares or something. It's really fun.
How about Nathan? Me and you versus Campbell and Chris. The pros.
Let's
you know what I like to do? When they ask for a team name, I like to just name my team the winning team. So this way, if I lose, I can still be like, yeah, I was the winning team.
That's pretty clever. It's kind of like those unique game tags on PlayStation and Xbox where it's like so and so's killed when you play Call of Duty. Campbell, what would you consider like the major hub of the Phoenix, or Chris, if whoever maybe knows that, where is it like the most popular throughout the nation? Maybe the in-person stuff.
So we got started in Boulder, Colorado. Actually, our biggest chapter is probably in Denver, Colorado. But you can go to thephoenix.org and type in your zip code to see if there's any in-person programs near you. We're all over the country. We're big in Boston. I think Chris said we had 23 chapter locations. Those are either like Dallas, where we don't have a brick and mortar location, or like Boston, where we have a big central gym. But our programs are all over the country.
Yeah, because I was curious, I was actually looking at this little map behind me. So I was like, I wonder exactly where on there that they are, because I did look up like at least our zip code, and then I was going to kind of like scope out and see where I could find more. And is it like, all over the place, or is it a little more like East Coast and then some here and there? And that
we have chapters in Boise, Wichita, Tampa, Florida, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Boston and Lowell, Massachusetts, Dallas over there, Orange County, California. Where else, Campbell? Well, we just are
Houston.
getting
There's a remote chapter in Houston.
We're just getting started in
Wichita.
Detroit. Yeah, Detroit, Chicago. There's a lot more. I can't name them all right now, but if you go on our website, you can.
No, that's exactly what I was looking
Yeah.
for, because even just that kind of like mental list in my head puts a lot on the East Coast and in the Midwest a lot, and then obviously some in Texas and you know, all over the place, but it just puts like dots in my head for some reason. I always think of like where there are Waffle Houses or something like that, because that's how my brain works.
That's a Virginia thing right there. The Waffle House across from Hampton Coliseum. I remember going there.
Yep,
Long time ago.
Mason-Dixon line and below. So you know, come eat the Waffle House and work it off.
Oh, I forgot one. I just saw Byron, our program manager from Milwaukee, commented too. We have a chapter in Milwaukee now too. Forgot about you, Byron. Sorry, Byron. Love you.
Nathan, you got any other great questions for these wonderful gentlemen? I know you got something in that brain.
How can I lose 30 pounds like that? And it's probably, I don't want you to tell me not to stop eating those chicken tenders I had while we were waiting for the show to start. There's got to be an easier, softer, faster way.
So my friend, the secret is there is no secret. It's hard work and consistency. It's just like how you got sober.
Yeah. And to be honest,
I know that's disappointing, maybe. But.
No, Campbell, I'm like pissed off and loving it at the same time, because it's just such like raw, like no shit, but it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I really dig about it, is because it's like, you know, the truth isn't glamorous a lot of times, and I think that's really refreshing, honestly.
I have been doing a lot of walks while I've been on this trip, and I've actually noticed that I'm waking up and drinking more water. I'm waking up in a better mood, but also in less pain. You know, I have chronic pain in my 40s, and so it's just not as bad. And I notice, you know, really using the breathing and focusing on my breathing and being aware of present time, especially when I'm driving. And I know that's kind of maybe sounds silly, but you know, I for years I didn't drive. You know, for years I lived in cities. I didn't drive. I was a little nervous about driving, and so this is a big exercise in just overcoming that basic fear. You know, I'm going. Although I also have kind of a lead foot too, so I kind of put the fear on myself. But you know, the driving through traffic or driving, you know, whoosh down the highway in the middle of nowhere, you know, my mind immediately, like yesterday driving here, you know, I went through like 4 hours of really very, very, very rural desert. And the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to break down, you know, and just breathing and saying, where am I? And practicing that. And it helps. I mean, it's
And meditate.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't full on meditate because closing my eyes while driving may be problematic. However, focusing on the breathing, you know, really, really focusing on the breathing. I make it a point to do that before I go to bed. I make it a point to do that when I wake up in the morning, man. When I wake up in the morning, my brain is like right off the bat. I mean, I'm freaking ADD to the max. I have to.
I did want to hit. I did want to hit.
Oh yeah, good question. Yeah.
Before we kind of come to a close, what about major college towns? What are some markets that you guys are trying to hit? Is it just kind of like what people ask for, what's in high demand, or is there some sort of like expansion gameplay that you guys might have? That's kind of open to either of you guys.
Any big city or anywhere there's a need. A volunteer can start it anywhere. We can please email Chris or myself, and we can get you in touch with the right people. You don't need anything magical to start this. You don't need somebody to, you know, pass you a secret passage. If you're passionate about sober active communities and you want to start one, please, we'd love to help empower you to do that.
And you talked about
really cool.
Nathan, you talked about growth strategy. So to date, I think the latest statistic is since the Phoenix was founded, we've served over 40,000 people somewhere around. Was it 46,000 now, something like that? And the goal for us that we have set is within the next 5 years to create a movement that we have served 1 million members. So that's our growth strategy. So yes, we are expanding quickly, and anywhere that there's a need and cash in, we're going to go.
Over 1 million served. That's a great goal, man. Nathan, any other final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think there was something. I don't know if you guys answered this or not. I don't remember. But how much does it cost to be a member of the Phoenix?
48 hours of continuous sobriety is the only fee.
That's awesome.
That's all it's going to cost you. Continuous sobriety.
Continuous sobriety, and all of your events online are free.
Free, yeah.
And what about events in person?
They're all free. Everything, as long as you have 48 hours of continuous sobriety, and you can sign our new member agreement. You can see it on our website. We have some community standards to make sure that we maintain that safe, supportive environment. You would agree to keep your shirt on at all times, not to smoke at our events, not to use us as a dating site, not to say anything offensive, racist, sexist, homophobic, or otherwise. Things like that. Like we have a team member agreement. That's all. You can fill it out on our website, pre-register for a class, and show up. The virtual program, same thing. Go to our website, find a program you want to participate in. Nathan is going to be joining me for meditation at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So if you want to see him, he'll be on the 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time meditation at thephoenix.org. Find a class.
Awesome.
That is wild, man. What an entrance fee. I think that's really cool. Honestly, I also do the group scheduling at McShin, so I'll probably link up with you guys and just throw you on a Zoom chat in a room full of dudes and be like, y'all are doing yoga. That's the way it is, because people like it. People dig that sort of stuff or something. I would definitely love to link up with you guys and maybe do a group in some sort of facility like that. Yeah.
Definitely shoot me an email. We can do that. We can have you link that up. We've had some sober living houses and treatment centers join us on their TV, and if they want to leave their screen off, they can, whatever. I mean, if you have the space to do that, we would love to have you all come at once. That's great.
Oh yeah, we'll do it in the chapel. We'll do it in the chapel on Friday. We'll figure something out. Either this Friday or next Friday, because those are usually our good days for it. So yeah, you will 100% be hearing from me, even if Nathan doesn't show up to meditation tomorrow.
Wait, so you're going to be in meditation in the morning too, Alex?
7 a.m. I'm smart enough to just say no. I'm not even gonna say yes.
Fair enough.
Is there meditation at like 6 p.m. or something like that? Because I'm a night owl. Maybe 2 a.m. or something like that is more up my alley.
9 a.m. on Thursdays, 10 a.m. Saturday morning, and then next Wednesday, we're starting a nighttime meditation. It'll be at 9 p.m. Next Wednesday will be the first one.
Oh, that's actually, I like that one.
But I'll keep you updated. I'll send you.
You say 9 o'clock on Wednesday?
9 p.m. next Wednesday starts. We have a 9 a.m.
That's something that I could do. Because again, I'm more of like a night owl, like wake up at 8, work from 8:30 to like 6, and then be busy until like 2 a.m. So I could fit some meditation in there. I trust y'all's judgment.
Wednesdays are long.
We'll keep you updated. I'll keep you updated on that. Send me an email, Alex, when we're done with this, and I'll just keep connected with our schedule.
Absolutely. Campbell, any other final thoughts, buddy?
No, thank you for having us on.
Wait. Campbell, tell us, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, of course we can. So the Phoenix has started a chapter in Los Angeles, California, and I will be moving out there to help instruct out there and help get that off the ground. Huge plans, huge ideas in the works. Lots of people that need it in the Los Angeles area. We already have a chapter in Orange County with a physical gym, but we really want to get ingrained in that community in there.
So I'm going to be in LA right before you. I'm going to be in LA right before you. I'm going to lay all the groundwork for you, bud. You're just going to go in there and do. No, I'm
Thank you. I'm going to give you all the credit.
No, Campbell, I'm really, really excited for you, man, and really grateful that I got to meet you. And you welcomed me so warmly, and my sister so warmly on Friday last week. And Chris, thank you again for reaching out and for connecting me and connecting all of us and continuing to work to build a bigger, recovery movement. And I love what you guys are doing. I'm a huge fan already. And, thank you for this. And love you guys. Thank you. Alex, thank you. Love you. And Todd, thank you. And I love you too, buddy.
Let me get one of those in large. Anything else, gentlemen? Anything else?
No, please join us. I'll see everyone soon.
Oh, most definitely. Nathan, I love you. Campbell and Chris, I love you guys too. It's been a total delight. I'll definitely be emailing y'all and keep up the awesome work. Good luck in LA, Campbell. Y'all stay crushing it and everyone have a great night. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, guys.
One thing we do here, we always educate our participants. I want you to leave here after your 30, 60, 90 days or however long you stay and leave. I want you to be educated about the disease of addiction, about substance use disorders, what you need to do to personally recover. But I want you to know why we don't have the support we should have. I want you to know where all the funding goes, what the thinking is of our culture, why we're the way we are. And just for the record, everybody put it right in. I hereby deputize each and every one of you as an ambassador to get facing this of recovery from here on out. You've just been deputized. You just became ambassadors of a recovery movement, an authentic recovery movement. What authentic means is by people in recovery themselves. This is our call to action.